Great day, attractive thinker. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your vision and mindset expert at theattractivethinker.guru. This is where we support you with mental healing, mental strength, and mindset maintenance. I am delighted to be here with you on this fantastic and amazing day. Just to remind you, if you've been watching our social media posts and you're on our Attractive Thinker email list, then you're receiving our newsletter every week. And we're talking about this week, we're talking about Write It or Be Written. We're talking about your books. We're talking about those volumes, that series that's inside of you. Attractive thinkers are reaching out and they're sending me posts on social media and letting me know that's me. I have a book that I want to write. I've been trying to write it for years, or I've had this idea for so long, just haven't taken the time to write the book, sit down, map it out, gather my thoughts. Haven't taken the time to really put the effort and the energy into it. It's an idea, it's a desire. We all, have these desires and dreams and goals that we want to accomplish, but we have to put forth the effort. We have to prioritize, set aside specific time just to accomplish this particular goal that you have. And I want to share some information with you. Yesterday, I talked about you're never too old. It's never too late. Everybody has a book inside of them, and how the world needs it now, and how your book is your legacy. It's your treasure, the gems and the jewels, your lessons that you learned along the way to share with others, because there's another generation coming behind you, attractive thinker, and it's only fair to show them the way, to tell them what you've learned, right? To give them the detours. We all like the quick way, the quickest way to a destination. We all want to know, how do I get from here to there with the least amount of resistance or the least obstacles or challenges? Or not that we're trying to avoid them, because we know that obstacles and challenges help us to grow and expose us to new things. They challenge us. That's what a challenge is. It challenges us to dig deeper into ourselves and to stretch. Not that we don't want these opportunities, but that we want to not have to carve a new path again. Who wants to do that? I mean, every time it's time to do something new in your life, you have to start from scratch. You have to invent the wheel. Who wants to do that, right? So every generation should get better than the last. And this is why your book is so important. What did you learn, attractive thinker? You went through that path for a reason. You took that turn for a reason. That detour, that thing, that defining moment in your life happened for a reason. Or your choices, you made some decisions and it took you to the left when you had opportunities to go to the right, or you could have went straight, you could have went back. Whatever your choice was, there was a path on that, based on that decision. And along that path, there were some obstacles and some challenges and some victories. Your accomplishments. People need to know that. There were some victories along the way. There was some help and some support along the way. There were some clues, some signs, some trails, some traces along the way that you can share and compile it in a book, attractive thinker, and share it with the world. I say that because it added value to your life. You're still here. It added value to your life, and now it's time to add value to the lives of others. One of the key points that I talked about in one of our prior live streams, and if you're, watching this video right now, just scroll down the page. The other video that I did on Write It or Be Written is here as well. So make sure you watch that video. I talked about leaving a legacy. I talked about existing in two realms. I talked about when you leave here. Think about that, attractive thinker. When you leave here, you don't want to be just a memory. If you don't have anything written, nothing recorded, meaning in audio or video or in other media formats, you're just a memory. You just exist in somebody's mind. They have memories of the experiences, your voice, the laughter, the enjoyable moments. Think about that. But in order for you to exist in two realms, you have to leave yourself here in videos and audio. Think about the people who have already gone before us, some of our family members, or, famous people, or people that we admire and model after. If you want to see them or experience them or hear their voice, you can go right on YouTube, right? So I'm giving you some information here video. You can go right on YouTube and type in their name and all of their stuff comes up. There's their presence right there, their voice still teaching and mentoring and speaking, and their voice still singing and bringing joy to your heart. That's the power of leaving you here, existing in two realms. And that's why it's so necessary to write your book, Attractive Thinker, because if you don't write it, you're going to be written. What does that mean, write it or be written? It means that if you don't write your book, then people will speak about their perception of you. They will talk about their experience with you, their memories of you, and that's not fully capturing who you are. That's not fully capturing the essence of you, your heartbeat, your passion, what your drive is, what your motivators were, what your accomplishments were, why you felt like you were here, what was your purpose. They can't capture all of that like you can. Attractive Thinker. Think about, like I said in one of our prior videos, at the end, when people are standing over top of you, you don't want the best thing about you. The best thing that they can say about you was, you know what? Aunt Susie really made some good potato salad. Really? That's it, Attractive Thinker? That's your legacy? That's how you want to be remembered? Because if you don't write it, you will be written. Think about that. I'm going to post I think I did post the website right above this video. And I posted it because this month in our From Sight to Vision Master Your Mind experience at mastermind.theattractivethinker.guru, we're talking about the book writing process. We're getting clear. We're getting strategies. We're getting structure for our chapters and intros and our afterwards and where we're going to start, what we're going to write about, how do we put it all together? What do we want the reader to take away? Things like that. We're putting this all together because the bottom line is, anybody can write a book, really. But you want to, if you're going back into your journey, you need some clarity. And that's where the vision expert comes in at, because I'm going to show you some gems and jewels that you left along the way. I'm going to shift your perception a little bit and show you how you're sitting on a treasure. Show you that your journey had a different perception. Show you the flip side of it, help you to see beyond what you're looking at. Because most of the time when we experience our journeys, we're looking at it through a different set of eyes. We're looking at it from a specific standpoint, a viewpoint. Everybody has a point of view when they're going through their journey. As a vision expert, I'm going to show you how to see beyond that. It was deeper than that. Trust me, Attractive Thinker. It was so much deeper than that. When you shift your perception, you're able to discover more of your treasure, more that you can extract from your journey, and all of the ahas. And, it'll come back to your mind. You're like, wow, I forgot about that. Or, wow, I never saw it. That's a big one. I get that response from my clients all of the time. Wow, Dr. Toni, I never saw it like that, or I never thought about it like that before. And that's the power of getting support in this writing process. So visit the website, www.mastermind.theattractivethinker.guru, and get registered today so you can get in on this conversation. I'm in the private group that we have on Facebook with the Attractive Thinker community, and we're just talking about this structure. How do you put it together? The next step, so we can prepare for our intensive that's coming up on the third Thursday of this month. Every third Thursday, we come together and I'm teaching and strategizing, Q&A sessions and trainings and intensives, all kinds of information from health. I mean, think about it. I mentioned in our prior video, how are you going to write your book and you have a headache? A nagging headache. Your ideas come from your mind, your brain, and you can't function and multitask and get clarity if you have a headache. You don't even want to set aside the time to do it because all you want to do is tend to that headache. Lay down, do something relaxing. You don't want to think and write. So health is important when it comes down to the writing process. Who knew, right? Who would think that in order for me to become an author, in order for me to write my book, that I have to take care of myself? It takes energy, Attractive Thinker. Think about it. You're talking about being an author. You have to get up every day. You have to write. You have to talk to publishers. You have to process your book. You have to order your book. You have to speak about your book. You have speaking engagements. You have an audience that has questions. That takes energy. That takes energy, Attractive Thinker. So I wanted to stop by today and talk to you and remind you to write it, or you will be written. And nobody wants to be written. I want to tell my own story. Let me tell my version of my journey, my version of my life and my presence, my time here on earth, my version of my path, the path that I took, what I discovered along the way, the lessons that I've learned, and how I can help you too shorten your journey, shorten your experience, expedite your process. And that's the power of writing your book. You heard me mention earlier that you're never too old and it's never too late to write your story. And I want to share, you might find this book, I'm not sure if you can see it. It's called My Life in Real Times by William F. Nolan Sr. You're going to find this book on my website at theattractivethinker.guru. This is my dad, and I helped him self-publish his book. Did you hear what I just said? This is my father, and I helped him self-publish his book. He was at least in his 70s when he published this book. So I want you to get this, attractive thinker. He had ideas, and he was always writing stories. And I said, you know what, Dad, you really need to document this. You need to leave this in history. You need to leave this in the earth. You heard me say this before. I was at Barnes & Noble, and we were taking a family portrait outside because all my kids were in town. And when they got up from the wall they were standing against and walked away, there was a quote there. And in that quote, it stood out to me because it was talking about the mind, and it was talking about books. And it says, these are not lifeless pieces of paper. That's what it said. These are not lifeless pieces of paper, but minds alive on the shelves. Think about that. When you write your book, Attractive Thinker, you're taking your mind and you're making it alive and available to others on a shelf. So when people walk into the bookstore, there's your mind on the shelf. You get to share your thoughts and your expertise, the lessons you've learned, the fun times, the enjoyable times, how to thrive in life. People need to know that. People need to know how to get the most out of life in the face of adversity, how to maximize their lives. We all have been given a life to live. People need to know, well, how do I make the most of this? You've heard it. You've heard the phrase life and it more abundantly. Well, we have life. What is the it more abundantly part? How do you access that? People need to know that, attractive thinker. So writing your book is essential. It's your duty. It's your responsibility. You're obligated. If you went a certain way and took a certain path and you experienced that and you come out of it, then it's a nice thing to do, to turn around and help someone else, to tell them, to show them the way. Wouldn't you want somebody to show you the way? Think about this. And this is one of the things that I experienced when I was going through one of my defining moments. I'm a reader and a writer, and I could not find one book on the shelf in circulation that related to what I was dealing with at that particular time. Not one book. And that means the first experience that I had with this particular experience was my own experience. So I had to learn from praying and reading and research. When I say reading about how to stay strong in the midst of adversity, how to keep your mind focused. Great day, attractive thinker Kimberly. It's awesome to see you here. I see you on Facebook living it up and having a great time. I'm so excited and proud of you. Great day. Awesome to see you here. When we're going through our defining moments, I was going through my defining moment. I could not find a book specifically related to the issue that I was dealing with, the experience, and I had to research about how to keep myself strong while I was going through this thing, how to stay in faith, how to grow, how to continue to, how do you live? How do you continue to live in the face of adversity? Because, and not just adversity, a change, something new, a new experience, something that shifts your life, something that shakes you up a little bit. Something that brings about change and the norm is no longer normal. Yes. Yes, attractive thinker Kimberly says, I remember reading your first book. Absolutely. That's exactly the book that I'm referencing, and the defining moment in the experience is called Don't Be Afraid, He's Preparing You. And you can read a full excerpt on my website at theattractivethinker.guru. Kimberly, I would love to see your biggest takeaway. You don't have to write a dissertation. Your biggest takeaway, because you're absolutely right. You were one of my first readers when I published that book. And attractive thinkers, what I'm trying to share with you today is get serious about sharing your journey, documenting your story, and putting it in print and existing in two realms and serving your solutions, your expertise, your experience with the world. Make it a priority. What else could be more important? See, sometimes defining moments happen in our lives and they shift. They shift your life, meaning everything that used to matter is now in the background of your life, no longer mattering. And everything that was an option is no longer an option. It's in the forefront of your life. A shift takes place when defining moments happen. Absolutely. Attractive thinker Kimberly says the courage to exhibit in the courage to exhibit in the face of adversity. Absolutely. Oh, the courage that I exhibited in the face of adversity. I see that. You know, attractive thinker, thank you, Kimberly, for sharing that. It takes courage when you're facing those defining moments and it seems like your life is turned upside down. It takes a lot of courage. You have to be strong, attractive thinker, and that comes from a place of knowing. You have to first know who you are before life knocks on your door. You have to know who you are. When you know who you are, you know that you're a victor and not a victim, and you know that this is going to work out. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know when this is going to be over. I don't even know how to approach this. All I know is I can move forward from moment to moment. I had to reduce my life to the moment. Instead of, you know how we walk around and we're thinking about the future and we think we have all day and all week and all month and all the rest of our lives to accomplish things. Well, I had to reduce my life to the current moment and live moment to moment. And when we talk about having courage, it takes courage to not look beyond where you currently are. It takes courage not to be consumed with, well, how is this going to happen? Well, what's going to happen? Well, how is this going to turn out? Well, what am I going to do next? Or how am I going to be able to do that? It takes a lot of courage to live in the moment. And that's what defining moments do. They shift your perception, shift your priorities. Now, what used to not matter, what you used to push to the side, what you used to say you didn't have time for, now you have all the time in the world. Think about that. And what used to be important, all the little frivolous stuff. Well, I got to run to the market and I got to do this and I have to go out to dinner with them. I promised them I was going to be at the meeting and I told her I was going to take the position and I promised them and I said I was going to. Now all of that stuff doesn't even matter. You quickly, in an instant, say, I can't make it, or I have to step down, or I can't do this any longer, or I'm turning in my resignation, or all of a sudden, what used to matter doesn't matter anymore. It's not important. And that's what defining moments do. They give us clarity. Defining moments really help us out because sometimes we don't have the courage, like attractive thinker Kimberly said, to make that shift on our own, to restructure and reorder and reprioritize our lives on our own. Attractive thinker Kimberly says it's like that. Reduce my life to the moment. Absolutely. And that's when you can get crystal clear and start making some real decisions and choices about what I want to do right now, what I'm going to do about this situation, how I'm going to handle it, and what is my posture? What is my posture in this situation? How do I show up in the world while I'm going through this? Oh my goodness, attractive thinker, this is the essence of the attractive thinker movement, and being able to see beyond what you're looking at and being able to center yourself when you're going through something. See why it's important to write your book? There's somebody out there that, number one, you're ahead of the people that will read your book. So that means they're out there going through what you've already come through. And they don't know the way out. They don't have a manual. They're looking for solutions. Imagine, attractive thinker, what were you doing? Pacing the floor at 3 o'clock, wringing your hands, sitting with your chin in your hand, trying to figure out what you're going to do next, trying to figure out how this is going to work out. Well, there are millions of people out there that are looking for your solution that are going through those kinds of changes because they can't find you, because your book, your mind is not alive on the shelf. You're either going to write it or be written, attractive thinker. Attractive thinker Kimberly says, give yourself permission to feel what you feel. I like that. I like that because a lot of times we avoid our feelings because they're not comfortable. They might make us cry, might make us feel a certain way. We don't want to think about it. A lot of people disconnect in so many ways, in so many different forms because they don't want to feel, like you said, Kimberly, what they're feeling. And those experiences are alive, and, those experiences are real, and those experiences have lessons in them. What if what you're avoiding is trying to get an answer to you? What if, attractive thinker, the thing that you're avoiding is really subtly whispering and knocking on the door of your heart, trying to get a solution to you that you've been asking for? Think about that. Thank you for sharing that, attractive thinker Kimberly. We have to give ourselves permission. I give myself permission to feel what I'm feeling, because a lot of times we go through things and we don't think we should cry. We don't think we should pull away or, sit to ourselves for a moment or decline that invitation to go out or to go to the meeting or to participate as the leader. We don't think we should step down when we're going through something. But we have to remember we're human. We're not superhuman. We're human. And when we continue to deny ourselves and not honor ourselves in certain areas while we're going through things, after a while, you're really teaching yourself that you don't matter, that your feelings don't matter. You're teaching yourself that. And we teach other people how to treat us. And then we wonder why people treat us like we don't matter. Because we treat ourselves like we don't matter. Our feelings don't matter. Our words don't matter. Our tears don't matter. Our prayers don't matter. How we think doesn't matter. Our opinion doesn't matter. That's what happens when we don't take the time to sit down with ourselves and nurture and care for ourselves and really get to know yourself. That's honoring who you truly are. See how deep this is. And we started out talking about writing your book, but you see how much is involved in writing your book? And that's the essence of the attractive thinker movement. It's a holistic approach to reaching your goals, not just somebody giving you the 10 steps to writing your book. Really? Well, what about all the stuff and the obstacles and challenges and the mental struggles that I'm going to encounter while writing this book, while trying to write this book? I can't even get pen to paper because I don't feel good enough, or I don't think I'm an author, or I can't even see myself speaking on a platform. Where's the instructions for that within these 10 steps to writing your book? That's the entire essence of why the attractive thinker movement exists, to support you with the proper tools to overcome those mental struggles that hinder your life and business success. Because it's not that you don't know what to do. You know what to do, attractive thinker. And if you don't, you can Google that. It's something in between knowing what to do and actually doing it. And that's what we deal with. That's what we have tools to uproot those obstacles. They're specific tools. You can't use a hammer when you need a Phillips screwdriver. You can't use a saw when you need an axe. Think about that, attractive thinker. Sometimes we're using the wrong tools and wondering why we're not accomplishing, wondering why we're still dealing with the same roots, the mental roots that need to be uprooted that are holding us back. You'd be surprised at what's really stopping you from writing that book. It's not that you don't have time. It's not that you don't have time. Visit the website, www.mastermind.theattractivethinker.guru. Join us in on this project and write your book. Get your book. Get it published in 30 days. It's possible. Everything is accessible now. We have no excuses. All you have to do is take the action. Make the decision and take the action, attractive thinker, to get that book out of you. And I guarantee you, once you get that first book in your hand, other books, because see, this first book, it's just like giving them, maybe I should or shouldn't put it this way, but I'm going to put it this way because that's what came to my mind. It's just like having a baby, giving birth to a baby. Once you have that first baby, all that scary stuff, all that drama, all those hard nightmare stories people used to tell you how it's going to be when you give birth to that baby. After you have the first baby, you get pregnant again, you be like, you already know what to expect. It's not, like some boogeyman in the dark type of thing. You already know what to expect. So once you write this first book, you got the whole process, attractive thinker. Now all these ideas are going to come to you. I can do this and I can do that. I can do the other. But you have to break through this first book process. You're either going to write it or you're going to be written. And I guarantee you, attractive thinker, people will not write your story like you could write it. I want to share this with you. I was talking about you're never too old and it's never too late. This is the book, My Life in Real Times. You can find it on my website. This is the book that I helped my father self-publish, and he was in his 70s. My Life in Real Times, short stories with long lessons. Now listen to this. On page 5, there's the title of a poem. These are just short stories, one-page stories, real quick. He wrote an entire book. It's not even that big. Look at that. He wrote an entire book on short stories with long lessons. And on page 5, it says, Winds of the Mind. Grab the wind and take a ride into your destiny. Call on the subtle parts of the mind and discover the true you. These are the areas that can't be seen or understood unless we quiet the mind and let the flow begin. The deeper you go, the better it becomes. So take the trip and learn all that you've been missing. See colors brighter. Smell the aroma deeper. This is your home. Learn to live in it. Give it a permanent address and call this place of mystic value my dwelling place. Isn't that powerful? Isn't it something beautiful to read when you first wake up and you're doing your prayer and meditation to center your mind and remind you of how abundant and fantastic and amazing you are? What a beautiful writing. And the book is full of them. Here's one of the comments on the back of the book of one of the readers of the book. He says, My Life in Real Times is the hallmark of excellence. I found each story to be inspiring and uplifting. Don't people need to be inspired and uplifted? It's in you. You're holding back, attractive thinker. It's locked up inside of you. You're robbing the earth. You're walking around full of solutions that people need. And here's the beautiful part about being a creative soul and getting your writing out there. The more you write and bless others, that process of writing blesses you. It transforms you. It encourages and inspires you because the more you put out, the more you're leaving room for more creativity to rise to the surface for you to keep putting out more. And those ideas that rise to the surface are blessing you. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know all of this was in here. Think about that, attractive thinker. Write it or you will be written. Dr. Toni Hatton here, stopping by just to remind you that you have books inside of you that need to be shared with the world so that you can exist in two realms through video, audio, and the written word. You know, attractive thinker, you hear me say this all of the time. Attractive thinker Kimberly says, so true. My first book was a part of my healing process. Absolutely. I can totally agree with that. I can relate to that because as I was writing my book, Kimberly, I was getting insight and I was like, oh my God. Here's the deal. When you're going through something, you don't really feel the full weight of what you're going through until you come out of it. So when I was writing my book, I had to pause. A tear. I'm sitting in front of the computer and a tear, gathers in the corner of my eye. And I was like, how did I get through this? What state was my mind in? Where did I anchor my soul so that I could survive this? You know, when you look back over your story, sometimes it's going to amaze you how you got through that. It's going to seem like an era way far in the back of your mind somewhere that happened 100,000 million years ago. Because when you're going through something, you really are supported. Attractive thinker, you need to know that. You really are supported. Attractive thinker Kimberly says, it released things I didn't even know I was dealing with. Absolutely. That's the beauty of the writing process. So why wouldn't you make writing a priority? Why wouldn't you make writing your book a priority? Like Kimberly says, you're missing out on healing. So here's the deal, attractive thinker. Thank you for sharing that, Kimberly. The things that you're looking for are locked up inside of you. You can heal your own self by just being committed to serving that gift, that book, to the world. You see how much you're really missing out on? See that right there? Attractive thinker, when we get clear, we have to have clarity. We get clear on what's really taking place here. You're not just writing a book. You're not just writing a book because you think you're some wonder, some international wonder, and people just want to hear everything that you have to say. You're not writing it for that. It's multifaceted. You're writing it to document your life, so that you exist in two realms. You're writing it to give other people solutions. You're writing it so the people coming behind you can have a path and some answers and solutions. You can shorten that path. You're writing it so that you can heal yourself. You're writing it so that what you have suppressed in that journey can now come to the surface and add value to your life. You can now, it'll come to the surface. You can now stick it in your pocket and say, I can use this. You're right. I did go through that, and I did experience that, and I did say that, or that was said to me, or I did do that, or that was done to me, and I can use that. Or I did discover this, and I can use that. You're sitting on a treasure. You're either going to write it or be written, attractive thinker. Think about that. So I challenge you. I encourage you, I inspire you, I motivate you to take the book from the back of your mind, the list that you have that is not a priority, and shift it, bring it to the forefront. Make it the number one thing on your list to do. The number one thing on your to-do list is to write your book, because if you don't write it, you're going to be written. Dr. Toni Hatton here, your vision and mindset expert at theattractivethinker.guru, where we support you with mental healing, mental strength, and mindset maintenance. Visit the website www.mastermind.theattractivethinker.guru and make sure you register. Get in on this conversation. Get the tools that you need. Great day, attractive thinker Lisa. It's so exciting to see you here. Visit the website, make sure you register and get the tools that you need, the proper tools. You don't want to just write any old story, any old book. Your story matters. You want to pull the roots up out of that thing. I'm telling you, if you went through something, people need to know the roots of what you went through, so that they can use it and begin to apply it to their lives and help them to get through their journey and their experiences as well. So visit the website, register at mastermind.theattractivethinker.guru. Check your email. You're going to get a PDF file with your next steps. Send me a friend request on Facebook. We'll add you to the private Master Your Mind Experience group, and you'll get in on this intensive that's coming up the third Thursday of this month, where we'll be mapping out your next steps, and you'll walk away with a clear picture of where you're going to get started with writing this book. You'll walk away with tools that you can use. You'll walk away, hit the ground running, because you're excited, because now you know what you have to do. Dr. Toni Hatton here. You hear me say this all of the time. My life's work, that is to make your life better. Remember, it's not what you're going through. It's how you're viewing it. Think attractively. I'll see you soon. Thank you, attractive thinker Kimberly and attractive thinker Lisa, for joining us. I'll see you soon.